What a wild game we had on our hands with the Chicago Bears versus the New York Giants. The Bears somehow, some way, by the grace of all that is powerful, gets the 24-20 win over the New York Giants, scoring 14 points in the fourth quarter. Amazing comeback win after being down 20-10. Did not play very well, but they did not give up and somehow get away with the win. This is Bear Down, part of the Coach Steve Show podcast. Like and subscribe to YouTube channel. Follow Ray on Apple and iTunes. Solo today, Zach has a real big boy job and has to get ready for work. Yes, works on Sunday nights. I feel bad for him, but it was just too much for me to not hop on. The podcast is back, so make sure you are checking out everything. We are back. We're back, baby, for a little bit. Different things to discuss here. Some things typically will be discussed on all other Chicago Bears shows. Some things maybe they're not going to discuss that I'm going to discuss here. My question is in the chat below, how many of you do turn the game off? I was very close to turning the game off when it was 20-10. The Bears were not looking good after their second drive where they scored. They did not look good. They looked very disinterested. And one thing, again, I said this, me and Zach said this on a preview for the New York Giants. The New York Giants right now are 2-8. They were 2-7 coming in, had not won a road game. A team like this is dangerous, and they're dangerous because they have nothing to lose. They will leave it all out there. Anything they have in their defensive playbook, their offensive playbook, they will leave it all out on the field. They have nothing to win. They have nothing to lose. Those are the most dangerous ones. When you're a Bears team at 5-3, with the roster you have, with a hot commodity of a head coach of Ben Johnson and your defense coordinator, previous head coach, like the coaches, everything, you are playing for a lot. So there's more pressure on you than it is the New York Giants. And I give the New York Giants a lot of credit. They came in, they played tough, they did not waver. They stopped the Bears on the first drive. They moved the ball a little bit on their drive. The Bears get the ball and they score in the first quarter. They're 7-0. They hold the Bears scoreless until the third quarter, where they had to kick a field goal. And they played tough in the fourth quarter up until around the 5-minute mark, when the Bears finally said, "Hey, we're playing football. Let's go." And Jason Dart is an awesome quarterback who is learning how to play quarterback. He is a quarterback that can run the football. He's a quarterback that on the move can make throws. Before he went out with his concussion, he had 242 passing yards. He averaged 8.3 yards per completion. He was 19 of 29. The Bears could not stop him when he did rollout or slip passes. The thing with the Bears defense, and we said this coming into the season, we have great defensive coaches. We have a great defensive coordinator. They mainly went after guys in the offseason for the offensive side of the ball. Coming into the season, we knew we could not fix everything. They had to put in order what they should fix. They decided offense was first. If you could get some defensive pieces here and there, fantastic. Besides that, they had to decide. They decided that the offensive line was more important. They decided that they had to have weapons around Caleb Williams, and they decided that they had to be able to run the football. That's what they decided. Dennis Allen, our defense coordinator, has to now out-scheme people, okay? Some of the schemes he's going to do does not really fit the Bears personnel all the time, but they are pros. They are NFL players. They have to be able to adapt and try to execute the schemes that they want to do. Today, some of the things that they were doing on defense did not make sense to me. There was one where the New York Giants were going on a drive. It's third down, I believe, or fourth down. Giants getting trips right with the two inside receivers really close to each other, and the other outside receiver was way far off. The Bears, so far this season, on a lot of third downs, they get into a mug look. A mug look is where you have your down defensive lineman, but you bring everybody up on the line of scrimmage. Besides your corners, they stay out there, and maybe one safety, maybe. But everybody else is on the line of scrimmage, And the defensive lineman can stand up, they can be in their stances. That's what they call a mug look, where it looks like they're going to bring everybody, and they can bring everybody, or they bring most, or the guys that are standing up are going to drop back. And I literally put this on X or texted Zach. Why did they line up in that look on trips? They ran the number 3 receiver ran an out. He went to block, threw it right to him. He was able to get close to the first. Like these things, just those type of things didn't make sense to me. That we couldn't stop anybody in pass coverage. And the thing is, the Giants ended up having 169 yards rushing. 66 came from Jason Dart. They couldn't stop quarterback runs. But the thing that bothered me was the Giants were struggling to run the ball at the beginning. They kept doing play actions to try to freeze our defense. To me, play actions work when you are able to run the football successfully. And the Bears defense was biting on these play actions. And I'm texting Zach, I'm like, why is our defense so worried about the run? And then the more you think about it, I think it's because we still don't have, besides Sweat, a dominant defensive line. We are missing 1 to 2 really good interior defensive linemen. If we had those, then I think they wouldn't bite on the play action as much. But the Bears defense was biting on these play actions. They were really worried about, that's the thing when you have a running quarterback, is when they roll out, they do boots. I call them slips, where they fake the run one way and they come the other, and usually have somebody coming underneath the offensive line and going out. Then you have a drag coming across. Your front side receivers either running a vert to run them off, running some type of curl, a comeback to the sideline that's a little bit deeper to try to open up the things underneath. The Bears just could not cover them. And the Giants don't have a DJ Moore and Odunze, and they're not the Vikings that have a Jefferson. Like, they don't really have guys that you would think that would bother you in the pass game, but you're leaving them open because you're so worried about Jason Dart running. My opinion, if you lose the game because of him running, then you live and die by that. Like, it's hard nowadays to pick everything to stop. In the 90s, 2000s, defenses were all about keep them to 0, keep them under 200 yards. We need to be able to stop the run, stop the pass. Today's football, you got to pick one thing that you may not be able to stop, or sit there and say, what are they really good at? Let's take it away. If they beat us doing this, then we live and die by it. For example, for people that may have never game planned for a football game, if you come across a team and they really are good at running the football, okay, you do everything in your power to stop the run and say they have to beat us through the air. And then we have to hope that our skill guys and our guys in the defensive backfield, in the secondary, to be athletes and make plays. So for the Giants, if you're sitting there going, okay, they're going to try to run, they're going to do this, let's make Jason Dart beat us with his legs, because he can't do it the whole time. Not every single play can he use his legs. Okay. That's what they should have done the whole time, but they kept biting on that freaking play action. They did. Chicago Bears got the W. Sorry, I had a comment here. Sex Machine 77, love it. If it said 60, if it said 6-7, I wouldn't put up there. That 6-7 stuff is stupid. They got the W. And texting with Zach, who usually is my co-host on here, he's not too happy with the win. And I'm happy with the win because it's a win. And sorry, I'm breaking down defense offense. So then we'll talk about everything else. And we'll get to that. So defensively, that's where they struggled, and they just let big plays happen. They couldn't stop quarterback run that's designed. Okay. Offensively, it's very strange that the opening scripts, whether it's the first drive or the second drive, usually in the first quarter, they look really, really good, right? Like everything is clicking. And sometimes it continues, but sometimes this season it does not continue to click. And so is this on Ben Johnson? Is it on the players? I think this one's on the players. Once I watch film, I'll say differently. There were times that the New York Giants had everything covered downfield in the pass game. They got off blocks very well. We weren't run blocking well. We weren't running as hard as we have in the previous wins that we had. But the players sort of kind of look disinterested. The Bengals have one of the worst defenses in the league, and I think that they got a little comfortable because they scored 47 points, and maybe thought they were going to come in. New York Giants are 2-7. They're going to come in and score 47 points, and they just looked very disinterested. The weather in Chicago, obviously high winds where I live, which is probably 2 hours from the city. I don't go to the city. The city sucks, but it's got to be around there. It was very, very, very windy here. Spitting snow, spitting rain. So I understand the conditions weren't the best, but you can't use that as an excuse for my next thing. I thought Caleb Williams, he played okay. The wide receivers did not help him a lot. There was a lot of drop balls that were very catchable, but you can't use the weather as an excuse. Like I said, when Jason Dart has 242 passing yards, they're playing in the same weather. So you can't use that as an excuse. So the people online that were using this as a reason why they were dropping the passes obviously don't understand football and don't know and find ways to make excuses. I don't know why they were dropping them. I don't think they were focused on the ball. I don't think they were watching it into their hands. Maybe they mentally allowed the weather to affect them, where that means you're not strong mentally throughout the whole game. Caleb Williams, I thought, threw a lot of good balls. Caleb Williams still struggled today using the pocket, because people are going to sit here and blame the offensive line. I'm not saying the offensive line played perfect. They started to run block better as the game went on. I thought Caleb Williams on those final drives put the team on his back. I will admit that. But again, it's kind of like the Justin Fields effect, where we have to be able to have a quarterback that knows how to use the pocket. And what people need to know is that the pocket can move. It's not always going to be perfect up the middle. And there was a clip on X that I saw where they said somebody needs to help Caleb Williams, and the pass protection was coming. His right tackle was trying to meet the edge rusher, and they sent a lot of pressure up the middle, which allowed this huge gap in between the right tackle and right guard. So the end or the outside linebacker that came shot inside, but the right tackle was trying to stay with him. Caleb then decides, hey, what if I run to my left? I coached quarterbacks, and what I teach my quarterbacks is if you see pressure coming from the right, okay, you have two options. You can run, like Caleb Williams did, run to your left and try to throw, or you see that coming, you jab step hard. If you're a righty, jab step hard with your left and then run to the right. The right tackle then can wash that guy down. The pocket has now moved. When he gets to the outside, that's still a quote unquote pocket. Okay. Just because there's not necessarily blockers, the offensive line is still blocking in the middle. So his pocket has moved. But he decided to kind of run to his left, kind of run up the middle, which leaves him open for that. He broke the tackle, still got around, ran for the first down. Now imagine if he jab stepped up and ran to the right around them anyway. He probably would have got that first down without having to waste all that energy breaking the tackles, right? Those are things that he has to work on. And the thing, like with Justin Fields, was you get confident running like that. That's your first move then, is to try to run. I'm not saying that the slip they ran, and he ran it in for the touchdown. That's like a slip play to me, where you're slipping the tight end out. I think Cole Kmet came around. They had a drag guy coming around. They're taught if Caleb Williams doesn't throw you the ball, you're turning and blocking because he's going to take off and run. He did, gets the touchdown. Those are different. Those are designed outside the pocket, like the true pocket. Those are outside your traditional pocket, but that's still his area to work with. I thought that there was times where he held onto the ball too long Because in the NFL, if you're getting 3 seconds to throw, that's amazing. That's all you can ask for. You're asking offensive line to give you 4 to 5 seconds. And in football, that's a long time. So he still does one of two things. He gets rid of it way too quickly when he does have a pocket and doesn't see developments downfield, doesn't let the receiver get away from the defender because he's thrown it too soon, because now he has happy feet and his mind's going 100 miles an hour because they're bringing pressure on him and he's getting rid of it. Or he has a pocket, holds on to it too long, doesn't throw guys open, and he wants to, break all these tackles. I'm not taking anything away from his athletic ability. Not saying that the broken tackles, he got sacked 0 times. He probably broke away from 8 of them. I would say out of 8 of them, let's just say 10 broken away. I would say out of those 10, I would say 4 or 5 are on him. The other, you could say the O-line, there were times where they brought more than we had in to protect. And then there were times, another thing Caleb Williams struggles with is when they do bring pressure and you have your running back releasing out and you have pressure coming in your face right now, turn and throw it to your running back. There was a play where the line blocked, backer comes through, DeAndre Swift rolls out. He overthrew over the head of Swift, and Greg Olsen even said it. He was like, he's got to learn how to throw the ball and get rid of it when there's pressure coming onto him. That's something that he's going to have to continue to learn. I'm not saying he's not the guy. You're seeing a lot of flashes that he is the guy. But those things, if you want to continue to win, are things that you have to improve on. And I thought that this would have been a game where you could have improved on some of these things against the New York Giants. Now, the New York Giants left it all on the field. You can't take anything away from them. The thing with this Bears team, to be positive now, they got the win, right? Any win in the NFL is, you cannot take it for granted, no matter if the team's bad, anything like that. The Bears last year under Matt Eberflus would have quit. We would have lost. We would have lost 100%. These Bears do not quit. And they said, don't let them hang around because they'll find a way to win. That is what Ben Johnson has brought to this team that he learned from Dan Campbell. We're never out of it, no matter what. And no matter what the score is, we're going to play as hard as we can. And I'm not going to allow quitters to be on this team. And I'm not going to allow quitters to be on the field. That's not what's happening here. I think he'll cut guys. I think if a guy out there would show that signs of quitting and bad body language, they wouldn't be on the team right now, a couple hours after the game. They would not be on the team anymore. So, an ugly win. I'm not even really that happy with the win because of how ugly it was. But in hindsight, you got to be happy that they're sitting at 6-3, and the fact they didn't give up, and the fact that Caleb Williams showed that he's capable of doing some of these things, put the team on his back, made plays when he had to. They finally started to catch the ball. I don't know if it's because it sort of warmed up, maybe the spitting snow stopped, those type of things. But they decided to start catching some balls. The O-line started to run block a lot better. Jason Dart went out, and having Russell Wilson in there didn't help the Giants situation. But you're up by 10 points. So it's hard to justify that. But the Bears did not quit. And that's the thing with these new Bears. A lot of NFL teams have been like this throughout the whole NFL time. As a fan, you wish that offense in those last 2 drives happened most of the game. I don't know why it took so long. I don't know if it was, hey, we're about to lose this game. What if we decide to start playing? And I think that's kind of what happened. But you can't have that either. So Ben Johnson's staff have to figure out a way to get them ready from the get-go, or the players have to have a player-only meeting and say, why does it take so long for us to get going? Because you do that against this bloodbath. I don't know. I say bloodbath. They have a tough upcoming schedule after the New York Giants here. You cannot do this against these teams, right? On the 16th, you have the Vikings. You cannot play the way you did against the Giants like you did against Minnesota, because then you're going to get down not by 10, it's going to be 17, it's going to be 20, whatever, and now you're working even harder to try to come back and win. The Steelers, who have a good defense, you cannot do that against them. Eagles, reigning Super Bowl champs. Your rival, Green Bay Packers, at Green Bay, cannot do that. And depending on what happens in those games, the Browns game, After that is a trap game. Then you host the Packers like soon after playing them. Then at the 49ers, which is a tough place to play. You're playing there at night, Sunday night football. And then home versus the Lions. You cannot afford to do this. Now, if you can somehow find your way to stick around, maybe you find a way to win those games. But in my opinion, the way they played and coming out slow, they cannot do that against really good teams, because really good teams are going to take advantage, because our defense was on that field a long time. Our offense could not put together long, sustaining drives. Even going for it on fourth down in these conditions still did not go on these long drives. So our defense was on the field a ton, which does not help them at all. The Bears are hey, we got to keep our defense fresh because they're banged up. They are still missing some caliber pieces that they have to address in the offseason in order to become better and strive for a deep playoff run. These are still good things to go through in a way because they're learning. They are learning how to win. Now they've got to learn how to keep winning. Okay. You have to learn how to win. You have to act like you've been there before. And then you have to learn how to keep winning. Then you have to learn how to overcome adversity the moment you don't win a game and what you do after. There's a lot of learning things that happen in sports and in football. So for the Bears, you have to figure out a way to not come out slow. Caleb Williams has to work on some of those things. The O-line cannot come out and decide to play in the fourth quarter and run blocking wise. But Caleb Williams put the team on his back. He willed them to that win. It doesn't feel good from a we should have won by more type of feeling with this game, but it still feels good that they're 6-3. Way better than where we were last year and the year before and the year before and the year before. So we're starting to turn a corner a little bit. This is the culture and identity that Ben Johnson has brought to the Bears. So hopefully they can continue it, because their schedule starting on November 16th up until, no disrespect to the Browns, but up until December 14th is tough. Like I said, Vikings, Steelers, Eagles, Green Bay. Okay. And you're at Eagles and you're at Green Bay. Okay. November 28th, you're at the Eagles. December 7th, you're at the Packers. Very tough. You're hosting the Steelers, which is nice, but then you're at the Vikings also this next game. So very, very tough. And the Vikings beat you by 3 the last time when you were at home. The Vikings is a tough place to play. It's loud. They just lost to the Ravens. They're getting their quarterback back. This is going to be tough. And so hopefully they can take the good things they did and say, look what we can do. We're capable of these things. Why do we wait so long? So that's my thoughts on this Chicago Bears game. They get the win 24-20 over the New York Giants. I hope Jason Dart is okay. I liked him when he was at Ole Miss under Lane Kiffin. He's a good quarterback. He's just going to continue to get better. He'll be back. That concussion thing kind of knocked him out. From a Bears perspective, I think that's another reason why we won. We took advantage of that. That's kind of when the tide shifted a little bit also. So leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. What'd you think about the Bears game? Anything with the game, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow Ray on Apple and iTunes and Spotify. Follow on X and Instagram as well. Getting the podcast rolling back out. So thanks everybody for watching and or listening. This is Coach Steve. We will see you guys next time.